Square Enix just had their E3 press conference, and they pretty much went the Nintendo route and did just a digital-only presentation where it was all completely pre-recorded. They just showed trailers directly from that. They didn't have anyone on stage or talking about things. They seemed to take a page from Nintendo's book, which honestly, in terms of flow, I liked. It kind of also kept the conference short, which was good. They didn't have to linger on too many things, and they were able to control it more. And I overall enjoyed the style of presentation. As for what they actually showed, Alright, so starting off, they went into Shadow the Tomb Raider, and I actually really liked how they had direct feed gameplay on this. It wasn't live demonstration by any means because it was all pre-recorded, but it was just direct gameplay that was an entire section. It wasn't like little bits chopped together. It was like a whole stealth section. And it looked cool. I enjoy stealth games. Like I said before, I enjoyed the original Tomb Raider reboot, and this one looks neat too. And it was a good way to kind of remind people that, this is the game that's coming, here's what you can expect, and it's coming out in September. And I figured it was good for them to start with that, because if they put it anywhere else, especially with the game coming out so soon, it would be anti-hype. So starting off with that and just showing some extensive gameplay was a good reminder that this game is coming and you can get it in September. After that, they went into a Final Fantasy XIV trailer for the Stormblood expansion pack. It was mostly stuff that we saw already from a trailer several weeks ago for the patch 4.3 things, as they show off a lot of the Evilus raids, showing off the, I'm gonna forget his name, was it Bellius from Final Fantasy XII raid boss, the fire dude from 12? I probably got that completely wrong, didn't I? That's embarrassing, but whatever. Oh man, I really want to play those raids because the equipment you get at the end are all based on the Final Fantasy Tactics character art, which is awesome. But within this same trailer, it wasn't all old stuff, because at the end it did go into new things, and was easily the biggest surprise that Square had in their entire presentation. And that is a Final Fantasy XIV crossover with Monster Hunter. I was actually speechless because I didn't expect that or know what to do or what to say or what was going to happen. But they show it was Final Fantasy XIV, in-game Final Fantasy XIV, and a Palico came up to the Warrior of Light, or the main character, and then fucking Rathalos flies down, and then there's Rathalos, and it shows a full 8-man party getting ready to fight Rathalos. Okay, so I can only assume it's going to be just a 8-man trial against a Rathalos fight. I don't know what equipment you get. It showed an emote of them drinking a health potion. Or maybe it wasn't an emote. Maybe it actually was a health potion. I don't even know. But that's happening this summer. Completely blew my mind from that. So now I'm like completely torn between playing Monster Hunter and playing Final Fantasy XIV, along with all the other shit that I want to play. Which one do? Don't know. Anyway, that was a huge surprise, and it kept completely under wraps. Was not leaked at all. So that was just awesome to see. And as a fan of both, I'm hyped for it. I may actually try to make time for it. I don't know, it's hard to do. But that was cool surprise. Immediately after that, they showed off a slightly different trailer for The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, which was originally shown during the press conference at Microsoft yesterday. This is the Life is Strange universe game where you play as a kid and through his imagination basically comes to life. Emphasized at this time that, it is a completely free game, comes out on June 26th, I believe they said. Kept it brief. Again, it's another free game within that Life is Strange universe. Cool. They then went on to a extended cinematic trailer for Dragon Quest XI, which I actually do really want to play that. And it was cool to see a lot more kind of plot elements and characters talking with each other and kind of getting a vibe of what you can expect. They didn't show much for the gameplay, but they emphasized a lot of that from last year. But yeah, Dragon Quest XI is coming out this September. They also teased a Dragon Quest event for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius for that mobile game, which I've talked about before. That's coming up too. It was good to see. I liked seeing more of the plot stuff because that got me more intrigued into it. I saw the gameplay. I was like, okay, I'll probably check this out, and seeing some story elements also kept me intrigued. Then they actually teased a new thing, and it's hard to talk about this one a whole lot because it was hard to glean any kind of insight from what they did show. It's a game called Babylon's Fall. Art style reminded very typical gritty medieval fantasy. I hate doing this, but for lack of better comparison, it was very Dark Souls-y for the kind of art style and vibe that they were going for. But they certainly had some over-the-top elements where it showed a guy in the full armored suit and strange energy tendrils came out of his arm and like whipped onto the enemy, like pulled him apart and then cut him or whatever it was. But this game is going to be developed by Platinum, so I'm expecting it to be much more over-the-top and faster action-paced, as Platinum typically does with a lot of their games. But it was nice for Square to kind of tease something new. After that, they then went into, once again, same thing from Microsoft press conference yesterday. They talked about Nier Automata coming to Xbox One. One of the things I was kind of surprised when they mentioned it here, though, is that it's coming in June to the Microsoft Store, which gave me the impression that's going to be digital download only and not a physical release. I have no confirmation on that at all, but the fact that they're saying coming to the Microsoft Store rather than saying it's coming out, that's the impression that I got. So keep that in mind for Xbox owners who wanted to play Nier. It might be digital only. Look it up and see and research it all if you can, but that was something I had noticed. Then went into a really quick trailer for Octopus Traveler. Just a reminder, hey, this game's coming out for Nintendo Switch, comes out July 13th. And that was pretty much it. Went over how there's like 8 characters you can play as. Didn't really show anything new or exciting. A little bit of new group character artwork, which was neat, but that's about it. You'll notice a recurring theme is that they just kind of like touched on a lot of small things very, very quickly and moved on. That was pretty much the entirety of the Square conference. They went to Just Cause 4 from there, which again was originally revealed during the Microsoft conference. And they more or less showed a lot of the same stuff this time, but now they had a voiceover kind of explaining a lot more of the new features about how the grapple hook has been improved a lot. You have more tendrils and different abilities you can do with it. Extreme weather is going to be a very big part of it. They improved the vehicles and have new kinds of vehicles for you to play as. But otherwise, for the most part, was stuff we already saw. But under the assumption you didn't see any of that stuff before, this was a good way to present it. Just another reminder that one's coming out this year. And then probably the most intriguing thing they had was another new game, completely new. It was really bizarre. It was a dark urban setting, modern day, contemporary for sure. Just in the middle of streets, and this is live action. It's all live action footage that we're seeing, where this guy in a very Japanese trendy haircut and dark coat walked into an alleyway with like a paper bag, and in this alleyway there were like three thugs, just 3 gang members hanging out. Again, all live action. Stands up, he says something like, what you doing here or something, and then as the camera pans over back to the main character with the not emo haircut, but the Japanese style haircut, he had protagonist haircut. Let's call that. He had protagonist haircut. Camera panned back to the protagonist, zoomed in on his hand, and then went up to the coat, and then the camera panned back, and now it's suddenly video game footage, and then go into video game gameplay where he suddenly starts beating the crap out of these thugs. Very beat 'em up kind of style. Nothing on the HUD, no additional information that we could have seen from that, but I thought it was the bouncer at first, to be honest, but it's not. And before he started fighting all these dudes, all the sound went all basically cut out, and he actually taps on his ear to show that he's deaf or don't speak or something like that. And then he beats the shit out of these dudes. And then the game revealed that it's called. After he beat these dudes up and they were down, it cut back to live action footage of him leaving the bag with knocked out thug dude, and then he walks away. It was called The Quiet Man. And I'm intrigued they're saying they're going to show more about the game sometime in August. But I like that this was a reveal that also gave us hints and teased and showed what the game could potentially be about. A combination of live action cinematics with the gameplay. Like, they try to make them probably like, our graphics are so good you can't tell the difference. You can. But that was the kind of vibe I got to it. So that could be really intriguing. Likely extremely jarring, because that's kind of what I got out of it already, just based on what they showed. But I'm curious to see what they're doing with it, because like having that live action footage isn't something that they really do in video games anymore. I haven't seen that in a long time, especially with the way they're trying to blend it into an action video game. Fascinating. I want to see more. I'm glad that they had some new stuff. And then after that, they went into a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3. Not a whole lot of new footage here that we hadn't seen already from trailers leading up to E3 or shown at Microsoft yesterday. There were a few new bits in there, like I believe the Ratatouille stuff was new. They showed cinematics basically picking up right where Dream Drop Distance ended. They showed Kairi hanging out with Axel at some point. I'm sorry, Lee. He's good now. It was the same trailer, had that same issue as the Microsoft one where there weren't sound effects and it was just kind of awkward. And my guess is they were trying to make people focus on the Hikari Utada song, but it wasn't really mixed well in a way that made that cool or good, because it was just kind of quiet and you just hear characters like breathing and grunting a lot as they run around and say things. Not great, Square. Not great. That was just kind of awkward. But it was still Kingdom Hearts 3 that a lot of people got excited for, and does have the release date of January 29th, 2019. And then that was it. That was it. It was a short conference. And it wasn't exciting by any means. And a lot of stuff they showed were basically things we knew about already and have seen before, and that's the bigger thing. The new things they showed were The Quiet Man and Babylon's Fall. Quiet Man was intriguing. Glad they did that. Babylon's Fall was so much of a tease that it was hard to get anything from that. It might as well have been just showing a logo. But yeah, it was hard to get excited over that. The Monster Hunter thing was super surprising. That was surprising. So like that was a legit exciting thing, but you know, that's also a very smaller audience that could be intrigued by that, because one, you have to be Monster Hunter fans, and two, then you also have to be Final Fantasy XIV fans, and people who are a fan of both are even smaller in that. So overall, I'm glad it was short, because they didn't really have a whole lot to talk about or show. And they didn't show Final Fantasy VII at all, which a lot of people expressed disappointment for, which I get, but you can't, it's not fair to get disappointed over what you didn't see based on your expectations. You have to think about what it is they did present to you, not what they didn't, because the press conference where they showed a bunch of Final Fantasy VII stuff, that doesn't exist. It's only in your head. You have to think about what they did show you. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're saving all the Final Fantasy VII stuff for the Sony conference later today, or more likely, it wouldn't surprise me if they're just not showing it at all. I would much rather focus on Kingdom Hearts 3. I feel like either one could be the truth. Well, we'll see when Sony comes around. So overall, I'm just thankful it was short, to be honest, because otherwise there wasn't really a whole lot of exciting things there. There's a lot of stuff we knew, a lot of stuff that's coming out soon, a lot of reminders that just like, hey, these are things that's happening. And I was teetering between a D+ and C- for them because of that. And I want, like, every part of me wants to give them the benefit of the doubt just because they showed some new things and the Monster Hunter reveal was cool. But I gotta be as harsh on them as I have been everybody else, and I gotta stick to my guns. So I'm gonna take Square and bring them down to that D+, just because it was a lot of stuff that we knew was coming, not a whole lot of new, not a whole lot of extensive stuff in there. They're close. They're so close that C-. They're real close. Make 1 point away or something, but just not quite enough. So overall D+ for Square Enix. But we still got plenty more press conferences coming today. Ubisoft is coming today. Sony's coming today. I'm going to go back and catch up on EA's press conference since I missed it, and I'll be talking about that today. I've already covered Microsoft and Bethesda. Those videos are also already live. And I've been watching all of these press conferences live over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ProJared. If you want to come by and join in on the discussions on that and the live reactions there, please feel free. It's been a lot of fun. And with that, check out the other press conferences, and I'll have more for you guys later today, and I'll see you then.